Okay guys, so finally getting around to doing this video about the BGH1. So what's my thoughts on the BGH1? And overall they're positive, they're really positive. I've got a lot of good things to say about this, but there's some things that just really get on my nerves. So I've made a list here on my phone and we're going to talk about this list right now, okay? So I'm going to start with the negatives first. I know people start with the positives first, but I'm going to start with the negatives first. So let's just get into it. So the AF is dead, okay? I know that there's people out there that have done some good tests. You know, the tests look okay. As long as you've got really high contrast scenes, I think you can use the AF and I think it will be reasonably okay. You know what? It's never going to be used. Thank God I use manual focus and I use the EOS M and the Blackmagic and they got me used to using manual focus because the AF on that is dead. Panasonic, if you're listening, switch up the system, man. This contrast-based AI business, what you've got, it's not working. Yeah, genius is 1% inspiration, 99% data, and your AF system just isn't capturing the data. It needs very high contrast situations and it's just not up to scratch. So Panasonic, please ditch that. You've really got to do something in the GH6 going forward. The no external SSD and recording to expensive memory cards, that is a big massive bummer. Because I watched some early videos and they said that you'll be able to record to an SSD over USB-C. Apparently that was a thing at the time on the early units, but Panasonic removed that. God knows why. That would have been so amazing to have that, because I've been through a couple of SD cards now and I had to settle on a Kingston V90 for it to work from Amazon. Thankfully I got it on a deal and it was £75 for 128 gig. But if you compare that to say, the Blackmagic, I bought a 400 gigabyte SanDisk Extreme Pro for £63 on a deal as well. I know that was a massive deal. They're not always available, but it just shows you when you're looking at V30, you can get some crazy deals. Granted, I can't do long slow-mo with that, but I usually shoot in 25p anyway. Now, before I move on, you can actually use the SanDisk Extreme Pros in the BGH1 if you drop down to like 8-bit or MP4 or something like that. But really, you want to be recording 10-bit 422 in all intra. Really, to be honest, don't you? You want the best, so you want to record in the highest quality, and the on the V30 it can only average about 30 seconds in 25p, which is not really helpful to anyone. But anyway, it is what it is. Expensive cards are quite expensive, and even some of the V60s do not work. Even though they should work, they don't work. You really have to go V90 and look for something a bit more high end. The menu system is convoluted. So I want to go a bit more deeper into that. So let's move into that now. Now, the main thing I hate about this camera is how small the icons are on the screen. There is no way to make these icons bigger. It actually makes me feel like I've got bad eyesight when I know my eyesight's really good. It's just, there's no way in the menu system to change it to make it bigger. Even just like a few font sizes bigger, it would be absolutely amazing. But as it is, you're kind of squinting at the display. Now you have got obviously your quick menu, which you can go into and then see kind of, you know, what kind of settings you're on, but even that's small. So then you have to change this to the bigger icons, which then covers up the screen. And sometimes when you want to make those quick changes, you can't really do it on this. And I find it really frustrating and clunky. And then if we talk about that just a little bit more, if I go into the menu, some things are buried so deep, it's unbelievable. Now what I've had to do is create some custom settings here so I can easily change settings and I know what I'm putting it on. You know, so that works for now. But let's just say I wanted to go into my autofocus settings, yeah? 'Cause I wanted to go into them to change a few things. So what I would do now is on the jog dial, press down, and then we come back over again, and then we've got down here, we've got the record settings. And then we can go a bit further and then we've got some focus settings. Okay, so we've got a lot of focus settings in here. Okay, so we can do a lot of things. But then if I come out of here and come down to the cog here, we've got more AF settings in here. Now, someone who's used to Panasonic probably won't mind that. If you've been using it for years, you probably won't mind it. But why is there two focus settings in different pages? What purpose does this serve? If you've made this as a cine camera, which doesn't take any pictures, unless you're using a computer, but primarily most people are going to use this as a cine camera or for streaming or whatever. Why bury things so deep, so clunky? I'm sure there's so many things here that you could have got rid of to simplify this menu system. As a Blackmagic user, and a Blackmagic user for quite a while now, the Blackmagic system, it spoils you. Now, for all of their flaws, they have the best system out there. It is so easy. It's like a baby could do it. You could pick it up. You know exactly where the settings are, exactly what to change. You don't forget anything. Here, I feel like I've got dementia sometimes because trying to change certain things, was it in here? Was it in there? All this kind of stuff. It's just absolutely annoying. And even going down to the user settings where you can set these up, like your favorite items. Sometimes I'm putting stuff in here and it doesn't even stick. Like I'll come back and it's disappeared. Those kind of things, it just annoys me so much, man. So normally what I do is I would just stick to my custom modes, which I have up here. And I've had to create quite a few of them so I don't have to dive too deep into the menu system. It's quite frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of this system at all. Panasonic, you really need to, you know, sort out the menu system for the cameras and just make it easier. You know, whether you're a Sony user or a Red user or whatever, pick up a Blackmagic. You can work that out in 10 minutes flat and you can pretty much know where everything is. It's no problem. With this, even now I've been using it for what now, a month maybe? Even now I'm still have to find myself all over the place and fiddling about, and I don't want all that fiddling about. So yeah, that's probably one of my main gripes I've got with this camera is the menu system. Keeping at the menu system, if we record something and we want to play back. Now, remember, I've been using this camera for about a month now, so let's see how it is when I play back video. So what you would do is we have a play button over here. So I'm just going to hit that play button. Right, so I've been doing some a documentary on council and the lack of the waste and that kind of stuff. So that's why all this rubbish is here. So if I want to play this now, I have to push up on this jog dial to play it. Okay, and it plays. And if I want to stop it, I have to press down on it. Obviously, that's not a problem. I can press forward on the jog dial to go to the next clips. But if I want to then come out of the playback menu, I have to press the play button again. I don't understand why that would be that. Why isn't it not just a back button? Yeah, that kind of thing is just alien to me. So you play, and then naturally your natural instinct would be to press the play button again to play the footage, and then you can use the jog dials. But why is it that you can't press this back button? Now the back button has got a bin on there, so if you press that, then you can start deleting footage. That I understand. I do understand that. It's just, I can't explain it, how weird it is. It's just mad because you just have to be pressing, tapping everywhere, all different buttons just to get somewhere. If I want to view everything inside the menu, what do I have to do again? Is it press down to stop it? Oh yeah, press down to stop it, then you have to roll the wheel, and then you can start going through the menu. Now you can't roll the wheel to think that you'd have to go there. You have to tap it to go along. I hope I'm not sounding a bit too nitpicky, but do you see what I'm saying? How you have to press so many different buttons just to do things. Now, if anybody knows a simpler way to get these, get this set up, because I've looked in the manual, and I've made a few custom changes to the function buttons, but to me, it's just so long-winded. There again, Blackmagic, even Canon, when you're looking at the EOS M, the menu system is just so much easier than what this is. I find this very convoluted. So let's just look at the Magic Lantern menu for a second. So this is made by some third-party developers running on SD card, okay? So these guys have had no money, no research into this, no nothing, okay? So let's look at how easy it is for them to implement an easy menu system. So if I press down on the trash can, we've got a nice laid out menu system here with your exposure. And if I hit the right-hand button on the wheel, it goes over to overlays, movies, shoot, focus, etc. So everything is laid out properly. Now if I want to go over to say movie, now all I have to do is press down and then go to like raw mode or ratios or whatever, and then if I go into ratios, and then everything is just laid out so much easier. Nothing is buried too deep that you can't really find it. And then just press menu to go back. We've got one button to go back, one button to go back. Why did Panasonic feel the need to put so many buttons into, or so many key presses into, straightforward commands? It's crazy. So when you've recorded your videos, you press the play button, image comes up. You press OK in the middle and it pops up your menu system, and then from there you can just forward, choose the color or black and white, and then delete, and it's just so much easier. Look, even exit, just press exit and then you're back to the main screen. This is what I call a simple interface, just like the Blackmagic, it's really easy to use. Okay, so you saw that, and as I said, the menu system is too convoluted for me. Thankfully, I'm getting by with the quick settings, you know, just quickly changing it to, you know, whatever I want, 25 or 50 and 8-bit or 10-bit or whatever. I'm getting by with that, but I'm still fiddling far too much when changing things. It is too much, but it's okay. I'm working on it slowly but surely. I'm getting there. And as you can see, the icons are just far too small, and it's something that I find hard to deal with. You need bigger icons than that. And as I said before, if they made this a dedicated video cam, then they should have slimmed down the menu system. It doesn't need to, it's too deep, man, it's too much. So what do I like from it? So you've seen the build. I mean, I love this build, man. Like, it's so nice to hold in the hand, even with this tiny handle, which is a bit too small for holding, you know, like the Sigma and stuff like that, but it's easily doable. Everything just seems nicely centered in the middle, the weight, everything else. I really like the build quality of this. It's really nice, and it just feels premium. The camera feels a lot more robust and dense than my than the Blackmagic's, obviously. Vlog has got an amazing picture quality, and you know, working with the 10-bit and doing various shoots and tests myself, I find no problem working with Vlog. As long as you expose correctly, it's absolutely lovely. I think you can get some really nice images. You can go a bit further and use a Tiffin Black Pro Mist to soften out your sharp lenses, or you can use the glow tool in DaVinci Resolve and just, you know, either, you know, bring the sharpness down on key areas, or just leave it sharp. If you want that real high key quality look, you can just leave it sharp. You got the best of both worlds in the image on that one. HLG, I didn't think I was going to like hybrid log gamma, but I actually really like it. And to me, that looks the closest to broadcast television. So if you want to shoot something that you want to be looking broadcast quality and you've got the light to work with, hybrid log gamma, definitely the way to go. Really nice and really easy to just put in, and you don't really have to do any much grading or anything. It's pretty much done for you. Might have to lift shadows and you know, dim the highlights a bit, whatever. But it's hybrid log gamma is really nice. Low light performance is absolutely amazing. This camera really excels in low light. I mean, I've gone up to, so far, only ISO 6400, but you will need to use, sometimes you will need to use a bit of noise reduction, but absolutely amazing in low light. Dual SD card recording. And you know, that's one of the fears when you're using something like a Blackmagic, that people always say, you know, get the top CFast card, because if you lose your footage when you're recording, you're finished. So having dual SD card recording is absolutely amazing. You know, you've always got that backup. So when wedding season starts for me, which is in August, I will be using the two 128 gig cards to record, one in like a proxy low res format and the other one in, you know, in like a higher format. And that will really give me that peace of mind, you know, when I'm recording, so I'm not going to lose anything. Or you can have it relay record. When one card runs out, the other one drops in. But as a filmmaker, I don't tend to record for that long. Even on the 128 gig card, which I've got, the V90, that gives me about 40 minutes, which is much more than what I need. If I needed more than that, I would switch it down to, say, long GOP, and then that will record for like, I don't know, I think it was like a few hours, I think, on that 128 gig card, because it really compresses it, but you don't lose too much detail. I mean, you've seen the one with my son where he's dancing around out in the sun. You don't really lose too much detail. Gimbal work is fantastic on a gimbal, so easy to balance, and then just run your HDMI cable to a little side mount as you would do with a normal gimbal on any camera. So easy to manage on a gimbal. The weight is centered, so it's just very nice on a gimbal. And if you look at the gimbal I actually use an old Moser Aircross. I don't use gimbals that much. I did want something cheap that could handle the weight, and this old Moser Aircross can handle the BGH1 perfectly fine. I'm happy to report it's absolutely amazing on a gimbal, and I see now why people want to have the Cube camera for gimbal work and for drone work, stuff like that. It's amazing on a gimbal. And the phone remote, as I showed you in my the BGH1 Panasonic A New Era, and I showed a bit of the phone remote in there. Phone remote control is absolutely amazing. There was one problem which I found. I should have probably done a recording test to show you, but when you start recording, the frame rate drops quite considerably. So it's a bit jittery. Still usable, but you know, it does jitter. But for recording yourself, you can see yourself, press focus, you could, and then, you know, record and then stop or whatever. It's amazing for filming yourself. Or if you would say you was at a one-man show at a wedding, and you had one camera over there and you're using your other camera over here, and then someone moves, and then so you could actually just tap to focus on them while it's all the way across the other side of the room. That's pretty good. Sometimes I found the connection a bit unreliable when you're trying to, go to connect to the phone to the camera. But once you get it connected, it's usually pretty much good to go. Battery, I've got cheap batteries. The official Panasonic batteries, if I bought them from UK, would have cost like 140 quid, 150 quid. There's absolutely no way on God's earth that I was spending that much. So I ordered some cheap batteries from AliExpress. It cost me £43 for 3 batteries, which are 5600 mAh, and the charger. And I'm happy to report that those batteries last all day. No problems. I'll put one battery on. I don't even bother it no more. With the Blackmagic, I had to worry about bringing, power banks or, a couple of NPFs or loads of LP6. This, I just throw one battery on and you're shooting. I don't even turn the camera off. That's how long that they last. I just let it run. Absolutely bonkers on these cheap batteries. So that battery's worked out about £10 each. So guys, that's all. I know it was a long video and I wanted to, add more B-roll and stuff like that, but it was just too demanding. So I hope you've just got enough out of what I've just told you about the camera. Overall, it's an amazing camera and I have no regrets in purchasing it. And yeah, I'm just looking to go forward with it, possibly adding an Atomos Ninja. No regrets at all. And yeah, I actually use it more than my P4K, but I don't know, now that Gen 5 is out on the P4K and the new features, I'm just starting to get, back onto that one now because I love Gen 5. I just love the way what it's done, the way it's affected the highlights and stuff like that. I love it, and skin tones. But yeah, I've got no regrets about buying it, and I'm looking forward to using it in the future. So take care, guys. Any questions you have, put them in the comment section, and I will speak to you later.